What a pleasure to start this day by welcoming you all to this space. It's really a treat. And this is very, very special as we are meeting almost after a month. So let's start this session with a smile. This is something that we can all do every morning when we wake up. And and if you forget to smile when you wake up, perhaps when you get to the bathroom and look in the mirror, smile at yourself. Hello, good morning. How are you? Try it. Even if it's a bit kind of awkward in the beginning, smiling at yourself, but it's worth the while. If we are going to talk about true love, maybe we can start by loving ourselves. So the least we can do is offering ourselves a smile and saying, okay, I know you are there and I'm so happy. How are you today? And also remember to smile before you go to sleep. There's something that I do each morning. There is this gatha, a poem that I recite by the Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh. And it goes like this: waking up this morning, I smile. 24 brand new hours are before me. I vow to live them fully each moment and look at all beings with the eyes of compassion. So when we smile, when we recite this gatha and when we smile to a new day. We recite it because we want to water the seed of compassion in us, to look at all beings with compassion. And since you are the first being to meet each morning, smile to yourself. So we wake up and we smile to the new day. This is a new day. And then we could reflect, how did I live my day yesterday? This is a new day. I can live it with a little bit more compassion for myself and for others. You know, we smile to the people around us, our loved ones, we smile to nature. Sometimes I've noticed for some people it seems it's much easier to smile to a singing bird or to a tree or to a flower than to the person who's right next to us. However, the person who's right next to us is also a flower. And our smile will make her, will make him, will make them bloom. So we can practice smiling to nature in order to develop the capacity of smiling. We can smile to our joy as well as our suffering. And then we can just smile for the joy of smiling. So anyways, in case you missed the chance to smile while waking up, I thought maybe we start by giving all of us a chance to smile and to enjoy a smile. A smile makes us feel better straight away. You know, whether we are the ones who receive it or the ones who offer it or the ones who just smile. Because why not? Why would we not smile? So let's start with a short practice to bring our mind home to our body. So just make yourself comfortable. And let's bring some loving kindness to ourselves by going through our body during this practice. And whenever we encounter a feeling of tension, on the out breath to relax the tension, to soften it and to smile to it. To say, I know you are there. I love you too. You are also me. So you may like to gently close your eyes And let's start by being aware of our breath path. Breathing in and out, become aware of the air as it flows into and out of your body. And smile to your in-breath and out-breath. Knowing that we are alive in this moment. And now become aware of your body and scan your body from the top of your head all the way down to the tip of your toes. And you sweep along any tension you may find on your way. Maybe there's tension in your head, maybe behind your forehead, or around your eyes, behind your eyes, around your ears, your jaws. Maybe your neck. And on every out breath, you smile, which helps to soften the tension you encounter. Become aware of your shoulders. And then sweep down into the arms, your hands and your fingers. On every out breath, softening the tension by offering it a smile. You sweep down your trunk, your back, your front, and then the lower part of your body, the buttocks and the abdomen. Softening any tension you may find in the buttocks or in the abdomen by offering it a smile. Then you sweep down into the legs, all the way down into the feet, to the tip of the toes. And here too, softening any tension you may encounter and offering it a smile. Now become aware that you have arrived on your chair or on your cushion or on the ground if you are sitting on the ground. Your body is here and your mind is in the now, in the present moment. Body and mind relaxed. And you like to allow a smile to be born on your lips. And very gently, you may open your eyes with a big smile, a big, beautiful smile. We usually smile when we want to acknowledge the presence of someone we meet. It is very common to smile then, right? So we actually have a lot of opportunities to smile throughout the day. Maybe we wave as well, but often we just smile, just to let them know, I see you, I've seen you, I acknowledge your presence. And this is very important. Everybody needs love, needs to be loved. And everybody has a need to love as well. But very often, the way we love ends up imprisoning the other person and also ourselves. So, how can we love and be free at the same time? Sometimes what may happen when we meet somebody and we offer them a smile, tears may come to their eyes. And I've seen this happen because they have a feeling that they haven't been seen or acknowledged in their being for a long time. We may live with other people, but we are so busy. We watch many things, we look at many things, but we sometimes forget to look at the people we live with. Even at meal times or in a restaurant, have you noticed? People are sitting together, they may say nothing to each other, they're quite immersed in whatever they're doing with their gadgets. And this is such a pity because the most precious thing we can offer each other is our true presence. And especially when we are sitting down to a meal or we are sitting in a restaurant, whether it's at a home or in a restaurant, or even we are sitting at a lounge at the airport or any waiting room. We have nowhere to go and nothing to do until the food is served or we board the plane. And it's such a good opportunity to be there for each other and to just offer each other's presence. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Zen master, he gave such a beautiful mantra that says, I'm here for you. And you can translate it into your own language and go to your loved ones and first bring your mind home to your body as we just did now, to be truly present, and then say, darling, I'm here for you. And then I leave it up to you to discover what happens after that. And then you can let me know in the chat later. I'm truly, truly here for you to hear, to listen, to understand. So true love comes from understanding. And in order to understand, we need to listen carefully. We need to listen to what's being said in between the lines, to hear what's being said and what is left unsaid. To really listen, because our loved one or a friend, a parent or a child may be saying something in words, may be saying one thing in words, but their eyes may be saying something else. So being present and looking into their eyes, maybe their body language, we will be able to hear what's being left unsaid and what actually wants to be heard. I was reading this story shared by Sister Gina from the Plum Village tradition, and she shared this, and it brought a smile to my face. Many years ago, she was walking down the street, and all of a sudden, somebody stopped and turned around, and she thought, oh, maybe I know this person. So she turned around and said, do I know you? And this person said, no. Such a beautiful smile. And she said, oh, okay. And she thought, she didn't even know she was smiling, but she was smiling for no reason whatsoever. So we don't need a specific or a particular reason to smile. We can smile just like that. Thich Nhat Hanh said, sometimes a smile is born from love, and sometimes love is born from our smile. So true love has 4 aspects based on the Buddhist teachings. Maitri, 1, which means friendship. Karuna, which means compassion, the capacity to understand the suffering and help remove it, transform it. Mudita, joy, unadulterated joy, sympathetic joy. And upeksha, inclusiveness, non-discrimination, equanimity. And these 4 aspects are within ourselves. They are within ourselves in the form of a seed in our store consciousness that needs to be watered in order to bloom into a flower. So when I say a seed, that is to say, a seed is a potential. We all have the capacity to love, to have loving kindness in our heart. We have the capacity to be compassionate. We have the capacity to feel joy, and we have the capacity to feel equanimity, to be inclusive. Now it is in the seed form, the potential. And whenever it is watered, when the seed gets watered, then it manifests as a mental formation. Now, what is a mental formation? A state of mind. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about Buddhist psychology before I go any further. So and I'm just going to focus on mind consciousness and store consciousness, just the 2 layers. Though the Buddhist psychology talks about 4 layers, but today we are just going to talk about the 2 layers. And it is in this store consciousness that whatever that we experience with our eyes, with our ears, with our nose, with our mouth, with our body, with our thoughts, with our feelings, all of that is deposited into the store consciousness, and nothing is ever lost. Everything is here in our store consciousness. And so when we become aware of that, when we learn that, we become very mindful of our consumption, what we bring into our eyes, our ears, our nose, our mouth, through the touch of our body, the touch of another person's body. Our thoughts, our feelings, we become very careful, attentive, selective. And that's love. Love is not something impulsive, it's not something reckless, because we know nothing is ever lost, that the body keeps the score, the mind keeps the score. We are who we are today because of all the experiences that our ancestors have gone through, all the experiences that we've gone through. Because whatever that comes in here, the input will become the output, you see. So in that way, we also learn the deep teaching of interbeing. The teaching of yin and yang, to know that everything that we experience in life is not lost. It's all stored in our store consciousness. In the black, there is the white. In the white, there is the black. Input will become output, and the output will influence the input. They are. So now, what is store consciousness? In neuroscience, they speak of background consciousness. Or in many wisdom traditions, they talk about the subconscious mind, which is equivalent to what in Buddhism is called store consciousness. It is a part of consciousness that always operates day and night. It is capable of receiving information, storing information, processing information, and learning. So our store consciousness, or our subconscious mind, is like a garden that is able to maintain and store the totality of all the seeds. Just to give you an example, when you drive a car, it is store consciousness that is driving, not your mind consciousness. In the beginning, when we learn to drive, we have to use our mind consciousness because we have to focus our attention. But in the process of doing so, store consciousness learns, and eventually you don't have to think about it and can drive while your mind is thinking about other things. So during the night, your mind consciousness might be in a dream. And you might imagine that you're swimming in a very icy lake. But if your body feels cold, your hand reaches out for a blanket. Now that is store consciousness, not mind consciousness. Mind consciousness is much, much slower. While we are driving, and if we encounter something and very quickly avoid an accident, that is store consciousness because it has learned and reacted very quickly. If we had to wait for our mind to make a decision, it might be too late. But having said that, in the teaching of the Buddha, both mind consciousness and store consciousness must lean on the body. They cannot manifest without the body, the human form. And the body can also not be on its own without consciousness. So body and mind are. So coming back to these four aspects of love, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, and Upeksha. We call them the four immeasurable states of mind, the immeasurable minds. And why are they immeasurable? Because we extend those aspects to all beings and to everything, including Mother Earth. They have no limit, the unlimited minds. They are within us. So it's not something we have to get somewhere. They are in us in potential. So it's a matter of watering them. And so how can we water these seeds? We can water these seeds by practicing deep looking and deep listening, which essentially are the two wings of mindfulness practice. So today we are going to talk about the first aspect of true love, which is Maitri, also called loving kindness or just love. Now, it is the intention and the capacity to love. We may have an intention, but that doesn't mean we have the capacity. Okay? The capacity we develop, and the capacity to love stems from understanding. The capacity to offer joy and happiness. In order to offer happiness to others, we have to understand them. We have to know their aspirations, their dreams, their hopes. What is it that they hope for in their lives? You know, sometimes our parents, they've had dreams for their own future as a young person, but maybe conditions were not sufficient for them to realize it. And then they hope, they wish so much that their children will be able to realize their dreams. But children may have their own dreams which may not be the same. And although our parents want the best for us, actually we suffer a little bit. So we need to look deeply to understand the aspirations and the joys and the suffering of those we love. So we have to listen to them in order to understand what their dreams are and to see how can we offer support. Now, Maitri is also friendship. You know, there's this word, Mitra, that's connected to Maitri. And it means a friend, a heart friend, a spiritual friend, somebody that understands us, who understands our dreams and our aspirations, our joys and our sufferings. Someone with whom we can share from our heart, with whom we can share our joys and also our suffering, and who will listen without judging or reacting, and who will not give advice. You know what you should do? Or try to fix or give a solution. But yes, they can point out to us something that we don't see. And they can point that out to us in a way that we can hear it. But it needs deep looking and deep listening and some understanding in order to point something out in a way that it can be received. And we also may have a spiritual friend who we know very well, and perhaps he or she can say a little bit more because we have this friendship that holds all this. And she can say or he can say, well, you could look at the habit energy. You know, perhaps one of your habit energies, sometimes you're quite impulsive. You react spontaneously to something, but it may not always be the right thing to do. And then you're actually grateful for that suggestion and you go, thank you, I will look into that. Because you know it came from his care, it came from her care. So having a good friend with whom we can share so that we can grow, our heart can become larger, we can embrace more, we can find more happiness for ourselves and for others. So to give some feedback, we have to be aware of from where we are giving that feedback. You know, sometimes someone in our family or in our friends may be passing through a difficult time and therefore also cause some difficulty, some suffering to others. And if we are really aware, perhaps sometimes it touches a kind of annoyance in us, a kind of irritation in us, can she not take better care of her or him or his suffering or her suffering instead of causing others also to suffer. And then, if we are able to reflect, if I was suffering and if somebody wanted to point something out to me, how would I like to be approached? And obviously, we will go with kindness, with some love. So then you take some time to be with that person, to be able to touch her suffering, to be able to touch his suffering. What is her suffering? What is his suffering? And then interact with her. Then interact with him with love in your heart, with compassion, and not with irritation or anger or annoyance. Now think about it, just plain kindness. How much does it take? And sometimes we need to ask ourselves, why does it take me so long sometimes? You know? And then perhaps we realize, because I'm not very kind to myself. How can I be kind to others if I'm not kind to myself? Can I have a little bit more kindness, a little bit more compassion to watch myself? So then you practice to look at yourself with the eyes of compassion and to see, why do I think the way I think? Why do I speak the way I speak? Why do I act the way I act in my interactions with others? What is happening for me? And then when we look and see our shortcomings, maybe a little impatience, a lack of understanding of ourselves also. We also then need to ask, can I just accept myself as I am? I am as I am because of many causes and conditions, all the seeds that I have allowed to be watered in me during my lifetime, all the seeds that I've inherited from my ancestors, from my previous lifetimes. Perhaps I want something to be solved quickly. Perhaps I'm very efficient, and maybe that's not always the best way to approach an issue. Sometimes I need to give time and practice waiting. So, when we can approach ourselves with loving kindness as a spiritual friend, when we can approach with compassion, then the time may be right. It's not only the time for the other person, but for us, we have to be ready. So, we need to learn to be our own friend, which is another element of Maitri, being a friend to ourselves, being a soulmate to ourselves. In Chinese language, the characters for soulmate means to remember, to know, to master, to take care of, to master oneself. And yet, most of us spend our life looking for a soulmate outside of us. And even when we have found one who loves us, who's there for us, we will push that person away. We will step on, walk all over that person, as long as we are not our own friend, as long as we are not our own soulmate. We cannot accept love from anybody, even when we crave it. We cannot accept it until we learn to remember ourselves through our breath, through our steps, through our body. through being aware of our feelings, the journey we've gone through life. That is being a true soulmate. That is true love. To be your own soulmate, to get to know ourselves. So today we are just going to stop here and we will continue the series in the subsequent weeks, where we will talk about the other three elements of love, which are karuna, mudita, and upeksha. But for now, let's do a very short practice of practicing love in a relationship. So allow yourself to be still for a few moments so that we can enjoy breathing together. And let me guide you into this practice. In this very moment, become aware of your in-breath. Breathing in, I know this is my in-breath. And become aware of your out-breath. Breathing out, I recognize that this is my out-breath. In-breath, out-breath. If the breath is short, let it be short. If the breath is long, let it be long. Recognizing in-breath, recognizing out-breath. As I breathe in, I'm one with my in-breath from the beginning to the end. And as I breathe out, I'm one with my out-breath from the beginning to end. I take refuge in my in-breath. I take refuge in my out-breath. As I breathe in, I become aware of my body, offering my body a smile of love. As I breathe out, I relax my whole body, offering my body love and care. Recognizing, aware of my head, my face, my shoulders, my chest, my back, my abdomen, my lower body, and just giving gratitude to my whole body, supporting me in every way. As I breathe in, I am in touch with the seed of loving kindness in me, the ability to care for myself and the ability to care for others. Breathing out, I nourish loving kindness in me. Breathing in, I'm in touch with the seed of compassion in me. Breathing out, I nourish that compassion in me. Compassion, allowing me to love myself, to care for myself, to be there for my suffering. And compassion, the energy to understand others, to have space for others, to see the difference in others and accept. Understanding and compassion inside of me. Breathing in, I'm in touch with the seed, with the element of joy in me. Breathing out, I smile to the element of joy. Joy of breathing, joy of life, joy of being able to love, joy of being able to receive love. Love is inside of me and around me. I'm breathing in. I get in touch with the seed of equanimity in me, inclusiveness, non-discrimination. Breathing out, I develop and continue to nourish the capacity of openness, acceptance, equanimity in me. I am in you, and you are in me. We are. My joy is your joy. Your happiness is also my happiness. My success is also your success. And your success is also my success. Your suffering is also my suffering. And my suffering is also your suffering. We get in touch with the nature, with the seed of interbeing. Everything coexisting. Breathing in, I smile to my in-breath. Breathing out, I smile to my out-breath. In-breath, smiling. Out-breath, smiling. Breathing in, I smile to my in-breath. Breathing out, I smile to my out-breath. All I am is my breath. Smiling to my in-breath. Smiling to my out-breath. And whenever you're ready, you may open your eyes and carry this energy of Maitri, of being your own soulmate, into your day, into all the interactions, and into everyone that you encounter today. And from my heart to yours, I send you much love. Atma Namaste.